Hello, traders. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, May the 7th, 2023. In this video, we'll cover the indices, all of which remain quite flat last week after tech finished earnings, with Apple pushing higher, sending the indices higher on Friday. We're looking for signals this week, with the call wall shifting higher from 4,200 to 4,300.
There you go.
Last week we had earnings from Apple, which helped send the markets higher. In addition, we had the SPY call wall increasing from 415 up to 420, and the S&P call wall increasing from 4,200 up to 4,300. That's a big deal. We're now right up underneath the JP Morgan short call wing at 4320, with the VIX getting crushed and the market exploring a higher ceiling. So far, money is still drifting back into big tech rather than out of it, concluding with that beat of Apple at the close on Thursday. Finally, there are some bearish catalysts because we did get some comments out of Fed Bullard on Friday as well. That said, we are going into this week with 14 neutral indicators, 2 bearish and 4 bullish. S&P 500 is now about 12% below the January all-time highs 2022. We're in the upper part of the range, that green area, looking for a test of the 4,300 area in the near future as the call wall shifted up underneath that JP Morgan call short wing up there at 4320. That's in line with that August high near 4,300. And an area we could see if we can get above 4,200 this week, with stochastics turning and MACD fading a bit. We're looking for volume to pick up this week and for a test of 4,300 in the short term. The Qs, on the other hand, are a bit further below the January highs at 25%, with RSI above 50 and pushing higher. It does look a lot more capable, especially with tech earnings out of the way now. We're just continuing this trend, 921.50 or above the 200-day. The 200-day, we've been looking for a change in direction over the last few months. We finally got it flat and turning up now, which is a big change since the beginning of the year, where it was descending, flattened out in March, and now is tilted up and to the right. That's a significant change in a short amount of time. The small caps on the weekly time frame still trying to get above the longer term moving averages. We do have a shot if banks, small cap banks and small cap energy can manage to continue higher. Small cap banks had a nice rally last week, ending higher on Friday. Just a refresher on the amount of bearish sentiment that we've had in the markets recently. That's turned up in the green panel down at the bottom, and momentum has shifted. A lot of people want to completely ignore this to their peril, but we are starting to see higher highs and higher lows. Right now, we're just flattening out a little bit to end the month. We'll see how the month of May comes out, but if it does continue to move higher and sentiment improves, that would be huge for the bulls. Advanced decline percent, managing to hold on to these levels, pushing back to the zero line for the S&P 500, mid caps, small caps, and NASDAQ in the lower panel. These have plenty of room to the upside, so as far as being overbought, we're clearly nowhere near that level right now. If we do get a catalyst and a follow through this week on more earnings or some other news, there's plenty of potential in advanced decline percent before getting overbought. Sectors, especially consumer discretionary and consumer staples, were flat for the most part, giving us a neutral signal. With most sectors in the S&P 500 moving higher, we did have IBB, biotechs outperforming, Real estate transports also moved back above the 21-day and the 50-day moving averages. Semiconductors are right at the 50 and the 21-day, so we're looking for that to push higher. Communications did well. Tech did well. Consumer staples, utilities, healthcare, and consumer discretionary were all bullish, with retail trying to get back above the 21-day and the 50-day. Overall, we had a pretty good showing from the sectors last week, with the exception of energy, which is still off quite a bit from its recent highs. If there is a silver lining for investors, there are many other places to put money to work. Last week we saw international indices all moving higher. The ACWI is back above its 21-day. Argentina, some of the South American countries looking a lot better. We had emerging markets pushing higher. In a nutshell, there are quite a few international markets that are very strong. Nikkei outperformed, along with India, looking like they might follow through this week. Watch Saudi Arabia KSA pushing a bit higher to end the week. The IBD 50 saw plenty of stocks that were rising with good setups, with stochastics oversold and turning. In addition, a lot of stocks with relative strength that we have listed here look like they could follow through. Most of the stocks from the IBD 50 do look really strong. We've got Aon turning with stochastics, nice volume on Friday. Argix, ARGX, following through, volume on Thursday and Friday. Axon, Broadcom, if semiconductors continue to perform, we're looking for a break above that 640, 650 level. And for a lot of the semiconductors to follow through this week. Celsius from last week, nice move higher on Monday, went sideways for 3 days, and then decided to pop on Friday. Looking for a follow through. The volume is starting to pick up. Looks very strong. Chipotle, after earnings, still hanging at the highs. Cintas, a stock that we always want to pay attention to. The reason being is that it's a reflection on economic conditions. The company has over 1 million customers worldwide, and it rents and sells corporate identity, uniforms, and related materials to those 1 million customers worldwide. Whenever this is bullish and moving higher, that's good for the economy. And when it's moving lower and bearish, you want to pay attention. It's been chopping around all of 2022, went sideways, finally broke out, and we're looking for continuation into the second half of the year with economic conditions improving. So that's something that we'll watch for this week, along with other stocks. Copa looks like it wants to break the top of this range. Copart, an auctioneer that helps insurance companies retrieve some lost profits through the auction process, especially cars, etc., that are water damaged. They are refurbished and resold at auction. That continues to trend. CPRX, looking for it to follow through. Stochastics rising, volume picked up on Friday. Look for a price to get back above 18. Fairly inexpensive name, with a lot of pharmaceuticals and therapeutics companies following through last week, in addition to biotechs. And with biotechs moving higher, we were looking for that breakout for LABU, IBB, and XBI to move through the resistance levels in April. We finally got that on Thursday, Friday with a follow through, a nice little pop. You got the 200-day moving average as resistance overhead. DraftKings gapped up on earnings on Friday. Huge volume. Looking for that to continue or to flag at this point. Green Brick Partners, properties in Dallas and Atlanta. That popped out on Thursday. Continues to move higher. Fortinet's also moving higher. Keep an eye on Fortinet. Most of the hotels look good. Marriott, Hilton all did well last week. Hyatt moving higher on Friday. Watch the casinos as well. Many of the travel leisure stocks look good, like Royal Caribbean, which followed through last week, pushing higher along with Carnival Cruise Lines and Norwegian Cruise Lines. Additional companies like Lantheus Healthcare pushing higher. Note stochastics turning. Looking for a follow through. Pulte Homes. A lot of the home builders did very well and could see some follow through this week as well. Salesforce, CRM looks like it might want to pop a little bit more as well. So we're looking for a lot of these stocks to continue higher. Make sure you check the opening monologue for these stocks that are listed here. Looking for a follow through this week, along with stocks that we've seen from the relative strength scan continuing higher. We had Apple, of course, with earnings last week, above average volume on Friday. It just came off the 21 day, so if we do get a follow through on Monday, I'm watching for the FANG stocks to give us some buy signals before reacting, along with stocks like DraftKings, Monster Beverages following through, along with Celsius with a nice pop on Thursday and a follow through on Friday. This is showing up on a lot of scans, looking for a break of this range and a push higher. Radian Group breaking out, relatively inexpensive. StoneCo from Brazil, a financial related name, continuing higher. Shopify with earnings on Thursday, gapping up and following through. Look for that to continue in this relatively inexpensive retail related name. TriPoint Homes following through. Again, most of the builders look pretty strong and have potential for continuation as market sentiment improves. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com on Sunday the 7th, 2023. I didn't cover commodities, bonds, or currencies only because there really wasn't much change. Bonds were sideways in a range. Commodities did fade a bit but bounced on Thursday, Friday. And currencies, we've got the US dollar at the lows for the last 5 weeks. So there was no reason to cover them at the present time. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 11:30, 12 o'clock on the East Coast, around 9 o'clock on the West Coast, so be sure to check your inbox for that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's beautiful outside in Myrtle Beach. Take care, have a great weekend, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.